So, there's a game that I'm really looking forward to that I've been following for a little while. And it recently came out with a playtest. I was trying really hard to get access to it, but I didn't get lucky. There's a game called arcraiders. If you've ever played extraction shooters, it's another extraction shooter genre. I was really looking forward to Marathon, but from what I've seen, I'm probably not going to be getting that game. This looks more appealing to me. This was the trailer for back in 2021. Originally, the game was supposed to be a looter shooter, but they eventually reinvented the game to be an extraction shooter instead. And from what I've heard and seen so far, it's looking promising. But I can't get over the fact that this trailer is pretty dope from 2021.
There is no way to hide.
Hang on a second here. We'll do it like this then.
Barons, queens. We give them different names, but they're all the same. Killing machines falling from the sky. This is our home. Our bastion of resistance. This is where the brave meets the bold. We will not die in the shadows. We will face our fears head on. Showtime.
Scout ahead.
Right there. Shit. Too many of them. Fall back now. Look out.
Confirmed impact. Baron is on the ground.
You owe me one.
Perfect.
New contact. Breaking orbit. Southern Rust Belt.
They will never stop coming.
Marks on screen. Calling for volunteers. Enlist. Resist.
So you played mouthwashing? I don't think so. No. Reminds me of Helldivers 2, but it's more like Generation Zero. Yeah, no, it's a perfect example. That's a perfect parallel. Now, here's the thing about this game. This was the original envisionment of the game. It's changed now. It's become an extraction shooter now. This was originally like a looter shooter-ish PvE environmental kind of game. And so now the game is completely changed. And a large part of it is because the extraction shooter genre hasn't has a big opening in the market right now. Right now it's mostly dominated by like Hunt Showdown, Escape from Tarkov. You know, other extraction shooters are trying to jump into that market right now. And this one has revamped its gameplay to be representative of that now. Now, I love extraction shooters, but they have their flaws, which we'll talk about later.
Set in a distant future here on Earth. Players start in Speranza, one of the few places in the Rust Belt that is relatively safe from ARC machines that occupy the surface. There are thousands of people living down here, and there is always a need for vital materials from the world above. The raiders are the ones who put themselves at risk, both from ARC as well as other rival raiders, for a price. It is from here that players can reach different parts of the Rust Belt through a network of repurposed tunnels.
It already looks really good, I know, right? Wait till you see the open world element, and knowing that this is about to be, it reminds me of the art, like the art style, the cosmetics remind me of the Rebels in Star Wars meets Fallout. You know what I mean? Kind of a little bit like that.
The raider we are following is on a quest, a job to obtain a seed vault from a research facility deeper into the city.
Get it to 1080.
The others in the squad are after medical supplies, some rare parts, and their best lead is a pharmacy nearby.
I found some chemicals.
Look at that draw
The red
distance.
flare is a signal of a raider getting knocked down, but you never really know what happened there until you go look. Could have been a fight between raiders or ARC. You never know.
Wasp, over there.
Let's go there.
Wasp. Let's go to that tower.
So if you're familiar with extraction shooters, you have to deal with enemy AI while dealing with other players on an open world map. And the objective is to collect resources and escape with those resources before either the players or the AI kill you. Now, traditionally in these games, AIs are usually not that threatening. They're more of a hassle, you know? From what I've been told so far and seen online, the AI in this game is really threatening. And so it's not it's not unexpected to be killed by AI alone. The question is if there's like certain tricks to kill them that alleviate that stress,
They've
and if
reached
that's the
pharmacy
case,
now.
that will
Looks like they are
diminish
probably
the
first
threat of the
but you can
AI.
never be sure, so it is wise to double check your corners.
Hey, Raider.
Don't choose, I'm a friend.
You wanna split the loot?
Trying to negotiate and you just get murked by a third party.
Making friends in the Rust Belt is not easy, but that doesn't mean
That's a
it
hell of a
can't
sniper rifle he's got there. Oh, the AI was drawn to all the gunfire, so now that player's being shot up by the AI drones. So now they can close in on the distance. They can get closer to the sniper now. I'm also not gonna lie, the camera work that reminds me a little bit of The Last of Us a little bit, you know, where it's kind of honed in behind your back.
This is it.
Some plastic.
Looks like they got what they came for, and now it's time to get out of here. Everything that you find will be lost if you don't make it out alive. But raiders know this. It's what they do.
Oh.
Raider, contact.
All of his teammates were killed. He had to get out of there. He's all alone there.
Engaging in firefights may sometimes be the only way out of a tight spot. Other times, being cautious and staying out of sight is the better option to make it out. For raiders hoping to thrive, the Rust Belt is filled with opportunities and secrets. if you know where to look. You'll have to stay vigilant up there on the surface, where an armada of arc machines roam unchecked. Where motives of other raiders remain dangerously unclear. You'll need to be resourceful, work with what you have, and sometimes make plans on the fly. What are you prepared to risk to get what you want? Ultimately, you get to decide what kind of raider you'll become. Shaping your own legacy, your raider, and your home.
There's our look into the game, and it looks dope as shit. I love extraction shooters, but they do have a flaw. They have one particular flaw, and this is something that I feel very strongly about, which is, if you ever play battle royale games like PUBG, Fortnite, whatever battle royale games, Warzone, the games are always the most exciting at the beginning and at the end. You know, that's when the games are the most exciting. And the beginning of the game, when you're collecting resources and fending off any adversaries that are in the area, are always fun to play because it's a rush in the beginning. And then there's a bit of a lull prior to the end, where at the end of the game, it becomes more of like a survival game, you know, trying to whittle out the other players as much as you possibly can while maintaining as much defensive positioning as you possibly can to keep yourself from dying, right? The thing about extraction shooters is extraction shooters are that very end of battle royales, the whole 30 minutes. And that makes it really fun because there's a constant threat element that comes with it. However, issue at hand with extraction shooters, and this is a big reason why the player pool for extraction shooters tends to dwindle, is because that lasts for half an hour, and that can be exhausting for a lot of players, especially casuals. They get burned out, and that's why player retention is lost in extraction shooters a lot of the time. They need to whittle down that exhaustion from being so persistent, and when they fix that problem, that will address a lot of the issues with extraction shooters. That is the one major overlapping issue, is that they need to figure out a way in extraction shooters to allow players to not feel like that stress is permeating the whole 30 minutes. There needs to be a little bit of alleviation from it. And that's where some games like Hunt Showdown, I think, get it right, where there's a bit more organicness that ends up occurring. Of course, there's like other things that go on, like cheating and whatnot and stuff like that, that are pervasive and need to be addressed. But one of the biggest problems at hand really comes down. Oh, and my dog is going nuts because my wife just got home. So one of the big issues that I think that a lot of extraction shooters have, and one of the simplest solutions, is as time goes by, the players get not only more sweaty and get a lot stronger, and they've stuck around with it. You and your wife need to play mouthwashing though. Here, let's look up a trailer for it real quick here. But one of the big things that they need to do is that they need to make sure that they implement a system that allows players to feel like they're not stressing out the whole way through. So one of the best ways of doing that, implement bots. I know that sounds silly and it sounds stupid, but here's the thing. One of the biggest things at hand is games, or a lot of extraction shooter games, tend to overwhelm and overload the stress load, where sweat players will feel like every game's sweaty, and then they will bleed out a lot of the really good or decent players or lower level players, because they'll want to, you know, hedge their games or only fight against them. And so one of the easiest ways of making sure that people always feel good playing is just throw in some bots from time to time, and that'll help alleviate a little bit of that stress. So that way, people are not always feeling like they're always getting their asses kicked, because when players are really good at extraction shooters, they're really good at extraction shooters. And they are very strong. They know every ins and outs, and it tends to happen is that as time goes on, the player counts begin to dwindle over time. So just implement bots. Just simply implement some bots, and that'll reduce a lot of that issue. Especially when the game's been out for like over a year. And many of the new players that'll be jumping in later, they feel way outmaneuvered, outgunned, and they feel like they have no chance. So just make them feel better by implementing bots in between every couple matches, you know, or even into middle matches where it's like some of the players are bots in the match and some players are not, you know, so that way you alleviate that stress.